Hi, my name is Sean Shaler. That's my friend Jesse Lobbs, and we are your favorite Pokemon podcast that's limited by the free Zoom call meetings that we have, all 40 minutes of it, but 40 minutes of bliss every time, in my opinion. Jesse, thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And I would just like to let our audience know we are not advertising for Zoom, although it does sound like that every episode.
It does. In my mind, I was kind of trashing it. Like, 40 minutes is such a weird number. But so in my mind, I'm kind of trashing it, but you're right. I'm giving them probably publicity that, never, we're not using Zoom. We're using proprietary software that Jesse
That's right.
invented in his basement in his spare time.
I'm a genius.
When he drinks, he becomes an engineer, and it's
That's
beautiful.
true.
It's a very
I've invented
savant
such
life.
amazing things. I'm basically the Bill of the human world. My PCs are amazing.
He literally merges himself with his PCs like a moron in hopes that
I
somebody
have
will
been
come and save
so many
him.
Pokemon by accident. It's been a nightmare. Nothing really wakes you up to your alcoholism like waking up as a Rattata, let me tell you. And on that note, I would just like to let everyone know I have had a company happy hour today, preceded by not eating very much. So I'm in high spirits. Meanwhile, my co-host Sean
Pun
has
intended.
basically had a sarsaparilla. So he's a child and I'm an adult, and that's where we are.
I had a Jesse, my evening, and this is me in a nutshell, actually, so I'm not going to shy away from it. I had a cream soda and a pizza, like one of those take and bake pizzas. We got it yesterday. Somebody gave it to us at an event Heather went to. So today, it stuck to the cardboard tray. We couldn't get it off the cardboard tray and onto the rack or onto a pan. So we literally folded it in half and then slapped it onto the pan, so we had a big calzone. And that was my evening.
When you say an event Heather went to, you don't mean a funeral, do you? His wife is a taker.
Yeah, so Heather's a funeral director. Fun fact, fun aside.
So that's not the event she went to. Just checking.
Right. Nobody gives out take and bake pizzas at funerals
until
my funeral. But you know what? I hate take and bake in principle. At my funeral, there's going to be fresh, piping hot pizzas. Everybody's going to want to come to this guy's
I
funeral.
will do that for you. I promise you. I will take care of the pizza at your funeral.
Please, you and Heather work it out. Get people fresh, piping hot pizzas. But there is one caveat. It has to have a topping, and I don't just mean cheese. It has to have a top. Anything. I won't be picky about what. Just gotta have one, okay?
Fantastic.
But enough about how bad...
Enough about our weird lives. Let's talk about a totally fictional world that we love and cherish like it was our own real life.
Our lives are interesting to me, but not to other people. Maybe, yeah. Let's jump
to
the
true.
Our lives are very valuable to me. Don't misinterpret that, Jesse. I think we're fascinating, but everybody thinks Pokemon's fascinating. So you're right. We're gonna jump over there. Today we're gonna talk about Pokemon Indigo League Episode 8, and I already forgot what it's called.
Path to the Pokemon League. Yeah. And you guys will notice it's just family tonight. It's just me and Sean.
We needed some downtime to decompress. This podcast is still
fairly
new. We wanted to...
time to recenter.
Yeah. We have loved our guests, and in no way is this an indictment. We are absolutely going back to guests in the near future. We just wanted to take one selfishly to ourselves, and I'm glad we did because we've got some fun, I'm going to call them asides, to discuss this time.
Fun tangents. But should we hop to the path to the Pokemon League? Should I summarize for us?
Do you want to do the tangent or the Pokemon League first?
Let's do Pokemon. Let's do the episode first, and then dive into. Okay.
Let's crush it.
So, the path to the Pokemon League.
This piece of shit episode.
We enter. This is not one of the best ones, I would say. I agree with you. We immediately enter and find Ash's big head. Ash has really had an ego boost, undeserved, from winning 2 Pokemon badges. And then after beating some trainers as the gang are on their way to Vermilion City, he gets introduced to the fact about an unofficial Pokemon gym. The unofficial Pokemon gym is run by a kid named AJ, who has won 98 Pokemon battles and wants to win 100 before he goes on his own Pokemon journey, similar to Ash.
An awful
AJ's
man
Pokemon
kid.
philosophy, an awful man kid. AJ's Pokemon philosophy is very different than Ash's. And Ash thinks because his philosophy is different that he's going to have no problem with AJ. Like everyone else, he's going to wipe the floor with them. Well, Ash's Pidgeotto and Butterfree are easily pounded in the dust by Sandshrew, by AJ Sandshrew, which is an amazing Pokemon, trained very hard, very powerful. Ash loses and then gets to see what AJ's training is like. And as he views it, Ash is convinced this is terrible. This is not how you treat Pokemon. It bothers Ash while Misty and Brock are just fascinated by the whole affair. And of course, Team Rocket shows up intending to steal Pikachu, and they accidentally run away with this really powerful Sandshrew. And by doing so, they wind up back at the camp, and AJ's Pokemon very easily handles Ekans, Coughing, and Meowth. AJ learns, he gets his 100th win from beating Team Rocket and learns, Ash is not entirely wrong about his relationship with Pokemon. And we end the episode with AJ getting his 100th win and deciding to go around Kanto getting the same badges that Ash is after. And that's the end of the episode. So,
there's a touching moment right at the end too, if I may append. That is like Ash is like, hey, if you're going on this journey too, why don't you come with us? And AJ is like, nope, me and Sandshrew got our own journey we gotta follow. And
thank God that we did not have to listen to him for 50 more episodes, because that accent, I don't know what they think Americans sound. Oh my God, I sound like that.
Let me point out something. Jesse is from Arkansas. I don't know what part, but he is from Arkansas. I think that says something. I'm from rural, south central Kansas. I think that it's supposed to be us, Jesse. I think that's supposed to be us.
I know. I think you're right.
I hope
God.
Not. But
it's terrible.
But I will just give a little bit of clout to the cute ending of like, nope, we gotta do this our own way. And that's like maybe the only redeeming thing about the only episode, other than maybe a couple of choice Meowth puns, and that's it. That's the only parts about this whole episode that I don't hate.
It's not interesting.
You start off with Ash being
I hate it.
Stupid as hell. He beats a kid. You see him beat a kid with a Rattata.
I never youngster.
Do you say Rattata or Rattata?
I feel like
Rattata.
I say Rattata.
I think I say Rattata too.
I don't know.
I think I do.
My boyfriend and I pick these names apart all the time, because I say them usually from what I've heard in the show, and then he says them from what he's conjured up in his head. But I'm never really sure, because as a Southerner, I don't say things the normal way anyway.
Apparently, we all talk like morons.
We're all AJs.
We are. Every one of us. You know what? Not to bash on whatever voice actor that is. I know the voice actors in these translated anime. You get like a list of 15 different voices. You're like, all right, make a new voice for each one of these people. And you're like, what?
I applaud them for their artistic choice. I just wish it was an attack on my homeland.
I just wish he was. I don't care if it's an attack as much as I wish he was a less annoying character. I'm okay with being attacked sometimes. I could use my ego lowered from time to time. That's good for me. But AJ is annoying as hell. So yeah, you get Ash beats a Rattata.
Ash also needs that, his ego lowered.
He does, big time, because he beats this Rattata. He walks up to this sign where this kid has won 98 battles. I don't know 98 people. This kid's won 98 fights, and Ash is just like, whatever. I could probably, it's fine.
And Ash has won 10 fights at this time. He even says it in the episode, and he's convinced he can go up against somebody who's won almost 10 times as many battles as he had.
And he's got the equivalent of 2 Boy Scout badges pinned inside of his coat, and he thinks that's some kind of entitlement.
As Misty said, she said he's getting a big head, and Brock replies, yeah, but his brain's the same size. And that's really spot on. That's spot on for Ash Ketchum.
I forgot that part. That was beautiful. So they go through this fight, and Ash gets demolished because his Pokemon don't fly high enough. Like, come on, up higher. You're killing me.
They literally don't fly high enough. Come on, Pidgeotto, Butterfree. Get up into the stratosphere.
Enjoy it. Spread your wings, fly a little. Not metaphorically, but literally.
And Pikachu straight up refuses. Pikachu sees the suffering and says, "Hell no, I'm not going in that ring." Pikachu need I. This is the second time in a row that Pikachu has been unwilling to help Ash do what Ash needs Pikachu to do.
Because
I love
Pikachu is the smartest trainer there.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
He knows.
He knows. He gets it. I don't blame him. I wouldn't.
No,
I wouldn't.
nor would I. He's fighting. He's taking a stand against animal abuse. Common theme in this episode. The post ass whooping, they go into this circus tent thing where he's got an Olympic-sized swimming pool somehow. This is a very strange economy. And he's like whipping his Sandshrew into shape, and he's making him swim, and he's doing these other things. And it's not like it's torture, but it's like this sort of 80s sports mentality, like this 80s sports dad of like just tough love or whatever. And so I've decided when we post this episode, I'm going to call it, PokéMalarkey episode 8, Stockholm Syndrome, I think is what I'm going to call it. Because I think that's what's going on here, is these Pokemon have become very loyal to this person that whips them. And I bet he probably has delicious food. I bet his homemade food is delicious. That's my best guess.
So, I get Ash, and we've talked about this before, and we'll talk about it 1,000 times because it's just the nature of the Pokemon world that a lot of this does, like, at the end of the day, no matter how many times Ash says, "My Pokemon are my friends," blah, 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 he's still making them fight other Pokemon. I mean, not to the death, but pretty damn close
to the
some cases.
To the faint.
And, like, AJ is even more intense in the fact that he is, like, pushing his Pokemon to the brink and, like, basically pushing his Sandshrew into a pool of water, which hurts Sandshrew. I mean, even if it does make Sandshrew longer and stronger in the long run, it still hurts him. I agree with Ash. I don't like AJ's method.
I convinced myself that once sort of past like an initial threshold that it was no longer hurting Sandshrew, but I don't know if that can be backed up by 20 minutes of children's cartoon. There was not a lot of evidence to go off in there. But but then like Brock and Misty are just willing to like brush it under the rug because of success and loyalty, which is not like a good enough rationale for me.
And the food. Brock is blinded by the diet.
So, long story short, think what you want about this kid, but you know what? Ash, at the end of the day, Ash's heart's in the right place, and this kid's maybe is too. He just is a bigger asshole in the process. Just my thought. I don't like him. I don't like him as a character. I don't like it as an episode. I don't know. That's just me.
I don't either. I'm not like, and when we get to next week's episode and the episode before this one, those are really good episodes, and this one in the middle really feels like not even. I mean, because more or less, I guess on one level, any episode that's not about winning a badge, you could kind of quote unquote classify it as filler. But this one just feels like.
In my other podcast, we haven't really thought of a word about it yet, but we tend to not like these ones that if it's not that good and you can pick it up and drop it anywhere, sometimes it's one or the other. It can be good, but you can still drop it anywhere, or it can be necessary but bad or whatever. This is one of those, like, it's not good. You could throw it out entirely here that it doesn't matter.
You'd miss nothing.
Not a thing.
The most fun thing about this episode for me is we have these weird snippets with Team Rocket where they're like arguing about what their new motto is going to be, and they're speaking in rhyming couplets constantly. Mm-hmm. It's very strange, but it's fun. That was for me the most fun thing about the episode, Team Rocket, because the rest of it was just meh.
They were kind of adorable, and they temporarily switched their focus from Sandshrew or Pikachu to Sandshrew, and it's kind of fun when they do that sometimes. So yeah, I'm game with that. That's fine. I don't know if I have a ton of other complaints about the episode other than that I'd say you start to get tired of Jesse and James' like same sort of routine here, or this is the first place where you're starting to get the sense like that they're just, we've talked before, they haven't been just hopeless morons yet. We're kind of turning that way now, where it's just we're
We
gonna throw out the
are.
same two Pokemon every time,
We are getting into
haplessly.
a rhythm.
Yep.
Yep.
So that's not good, but they're still charming. And anything other? Oh, Meowth's puns. I forget what the other one is. Like Sandshrew, like straight up breaks his teeth, like just literally breaks his teeth off, and he's like, "This is the moment of truth." And there was a pun right before that I forgot.
It
What
is
the heck
very
was it?
good. I really love Meowth as a character. Um, having a Pokemon who can actually talk standard English, in our case, is very funny. And Team Rocket, the way Jesse and James treats Meowth is so weird because very frequently they treat Meowth well, like in this episode, they treat Meowth like a colleague until like Ekans and Coughing get knocked out, and then they're like, Meowth, do something. Like they expect that Meowth is going to be able to handle what Ekans and Coughing could not. And let's face it, I mean, this Meowth might be a criminal mastermind in quotes like Jesse and James, but he's definitely not a Pokemon to fight with by no means.
Not would not be my first choice.
Uh-uh.
He sometimes behaves almost like colleague or even a superior in his own mind, and then yeah, the next time they'll treat him like garbage. But we haven't had any real
Often,
deep Meowth or Team Rocket episodes.
often, I think Meowth is a better member of Team Rocket than Jesse and James are.
He's more focused on the right
Yeah.
stuff.
His head's in the right place where Jesse and James are so conceited that they get distracted by whatever little thing pops up.
Psychologically, they kind of superimpose this larger professional goal on top of Pikachu, and I think that
Yeah.
leads to their redundant failure over and over again. It gives them like an excuse, like an air of mysticism around this Pokemon that you normally just find in weeds. They project that onto him.
I know.
And
You're right. So Sean, before we tilt away from this episode, thinking about Ash's Pokemon style and AJ's Pokemon style, what do you feel like to you, what's that difference, and where would you put yourself between those like very different styles of raising Pokemon? Are you like full on AJ, you crack the whip, train your Pokemon? Are you more like Ash, where you're like, you're my best buddies?
The only Pokemon that I like the way they get treated, honestly, is the way that Ash treats Pikachu, because Pikachu has so much independence about him. And as you've seen here, like there's times where Pikachu just straight up says no. So that's not a testament to Ash's style being my preferred style so much as just that to me is a better relationship. And then it creates it like an actual touching character relationship, which it's supposed to. That's his Pokemon, but creates an actual nice relationship that grows over time and things. And so it's like, yeah, maybe give me a Pokemon that has like its own independent personality and isn't just this. I would try to craft that. I don't know how many Pokemon can stay out of their Pokeballs and follow me, but I'll aim for that many. Whatever the max, probably 6, I guess. Apparently, 6. What a stupid number. 6.
I know. So does that mean I can carry my 6 Pokemon outside of their Pokeballs? Because that does seem ideal, right? You get to spend all that time with them, like outside of the Pokeball, having a relationship with them.
Especially if they had some amount of spatial loyalty to you. Like, I want them to be independent, like Pikachu is, but obviously Pikachu still travels with, like, there's a mutual benefit of, like, hey, these people feed me, and he helps raise me, and I'm going to stay by it. So as long as there is that kind of a dog, I'm a dog person, like more of a dog-like attachment, maybe than a cat-like attachment. Spatially.
That's fair. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, like, I guess that's the ideal. And you can obviously see as the episodes go on that Ash's relationship with Pikachu is much more special than his relationship with any of his other Pokemon. And that's because they always are living in the same place. I mean, they're always there together. They're sleeping next to one another. Pikachu's not locked away in a Pokeball, so
there's
I think
no
you're
threat
right.
that he's going to let Pikachu go like he's just some Charizard or Butterfree. God, Ash.
Yeah, that's coming.
Ash, you
The foolery of
moron.
Ash Ketchum. I
Okay,
think
so
you're right.
I trash on
That's the
Ash.
best place to be.
I trash on Ash every single week, but I promise I do appreciate that he is a young guy and that you do witness like small incremental growth. Small time. It's a long TV series, and his heart's usually in the right place.
No, though,
What about
his heart is in the right place about that Pikachu. That's the one good thing about
the
Ash.
one time? What about you? Speaking as a, like I said, I mentioned a dog person. I don't know why that just came to me, but I'm thinking about
No,
something that's like a
that makes
cross
sense.
loyalty. I would consider you a cat person. Is that accurate? And I want to know
I
if
am
you're
a cat person.
what's your style? How would you raise your Pokemon? What's your goal? I
I
don't know if I could even
I
find
feel the
mine.
same way. I think the best thing you could get from a Pokemon, from what we see in this world, is some level of the Pokemon having independence and agency, but still, because you raise them with you and they travel with you, that they do feel a much stronger bond than the others do. However, I guess there's interesting things to think about in this world because it seems like almost all it takes is throwing a Pokeball, catching a Pokemon, and it just obeys you instantly. Unless, of course, you haven't hit that trainer level that makes them obey you yet until you get the next badge. But most of the time, you throw a Pokeball, catch a Pokemon, and they're loyal. But
Let's put in some headcanon here. Let's say that when you catch them in the Pokeball, it's like that state of perfect comfy, like when it's just cold enough out here and you're just tight enough under the blankets, and that's what
mm,
being inside the Pokeball feels like. So then when they let you back out of the Pokeball again, you're like, that was the greatest sleep I've ever had. I'm gonna be your friend. That's my headcanon right there. It's perfect comfy inside the Pokeball.
that that makes perfect sense to me, Sean.
I don't. There's also beer and candy in there. It's perfect. It's amazing.
If only put me in a Pokeball, I'll do it.
Or wine, right? It doesn't have to be beer. It could be
I
wine,
will
whatever.
fight.
The
I will
Pokemon,
do whatever you want. Put me in this environment.
the Pokeball is your own little like mirror of Erised from Harry Potter,
Ooh,
which is the dumbest name for any Harry Potter accessory, except for that it's real when you're in the Pokeball. It's
no,
it's imaginary outside of the Poke. It's real when you're in there.
no.
Very powerful,
Give me
future
all of
changing
that.
device. The Pokeball. It also magically. It always bothers me that they magically get larger. That always. Why? That pisses me off. Why? How does that work?
I don't know. It's
Uh,
amazing. The physics behind the Pokeball. But I guess we'll leave that for another day. Should we pivot?
we
Should we
we
pivot,
should
Sean?
we have to address one more little piece of that conversation. Is that when it comes to the fighting,
Oh,
and I imagine I'll kind of speak on behalf of both because I think we're close. If we had to fight our Pokemon for whatever reason, it would feel infinitely better to do it if you knew that the Pokemon had some semblance of understanding. Pikachu clearly understands danger and avoids it
yes.
sometimes. So when he did go into it like of his own volition, would I still have some moral dilemmas? Maybe, but would they be softened by the fact that like he clearly has
Yes.
some awareness?
It would be less so.
Less,
Absolutely.
I still don't know if I could do it, but if it was like my means to staying alive and we had to depend on each other that way, maybe I could talk myself into it.
Yeah. A mutual relationship. Now, so this episode is all about AJ, who apparently is running an unofficial gym. So Sean and I were thinking, apparently in Kanto, all it takes is, because this is not the only unofficial gym we will come across. So apparently all it takes is a trainer to just plop a sign down and say, this is a gym not officially licensed by the Pokemon League yet, but I suppose it could be. I mean, if you're good enough and you get recognized by being a great trainer, eventually they'd add more Pokemon gyms. I mean, because in Kanto, you only need 8 badges. And it looks like later on, when Gary shows some badges to Ash and the gang, he has 8 badges, but he has some badges to places we've never seen. So I assume in this world, there are other gyms that we may not be privy to. So I imagine there are other ways. I mean, there are other gyms than the ones we see. And I imagine the path there must start out as unofficial Pokemon gym, get fame, get notoriety, draw the attention of the official Pokemon League, and then you become an official gym. So, Sean, question for you. Thinking about if you have, if you want to be part of the Indigo League, if you want to start your unofficial gym, first off, where would it be? Where would you put your gym down? Where would you put your roots?
My answer is very boring, but I hope it's interesting at least. First of all, I'm extremely grateful that you pay attention to things in this level of detail because, like, I see that Gary's got 8 badges. I just assume that I'm not paying attention to what badges he's actually got, and that these are all real places and that they're fine and everything. Now,
Research, my brother.
well done. I'm very glad that you have that sharp laser focus.
Bulbapedia.
And Bulbapedia is also a blessing. So I didn't pick a location so much as that I want my gym to be out of town. I want it to be in a very unassuming, just dull, run-of-the-mill place. And that's part of my vibe. Probably somewhere flat-ish, just because I personally don't like mountains or lots of terrain and things. So probably somewhere kind of flat-ish. Could be a lot of trees, whatever. But kind of unassuming in that you would not go there unless you knew where it was, kind of place. Like somebody's got to tell you about it. Somewhat inspired by Blaine. And then I want it to be a house, like one of the shed, like the Morton building things. Again, I want the whole super duper unassuming. But then, when somebody tells you to go there, and you're like, "This is stupid. This is somebody's old shed," and then you walk in, and then on the inside, I want it to be spectacular and posh and lush. I personally, as a trainer, I'm going to be sitting on a massive recliner, just the biggest, most comfortable. It's going to be way too big, but it's going to be big enough for me and all my Pokemon to sit on and recline all at once. It's going to be. I'm thinking like a man cave, somewhere between like a man cave and a club. Like I want it to be really comfy, really just luxurious, like unassuming outside, wild good time on the inside. Because when I have battles, I'm only going to let in people that I think aren't assholes, first of all, which is probably very few trainers in this world based on what we've seen so far.
Probably.
And so when we battle with our Pokemon, who hopefully are battling of their own volition, and then we're going to have a nice time. We're going to have fun. We're going to do it. We're going to be safe and all that. And then when you're done, hey, play some video games. Have some beer. It's going to be a lot of fun. The Pokemon, I had a really hard time deciding which Pokemon kind of fit my theme. So I decided I was just going to go with Pokemon that I would like to hang out with to kind of promote that good vibes thing, right? So Alakazam, just because he's a personal favorite. Growlithe, because I like dogs, and I love the episode with the Growlithe, the police dogs in it. That's a really good one. It's really strange, but I do like Meowth. Meowth strikes me as he would be fun to hang out with. I don't really want to promote a strong pet vibe. I think it's going that way. But I don't want it. It just seems like a cool Pokemon to spend some time with. And then I've always told you that I really like that episode where the ghost Pokemon are just like stoners in that old haunted house and the old haunted tower, and they're just eating munchies and watching cartoons. And so I always liked Haunter, and I think he'd be a lot of fun to hang out with too. So
Nice.
They don't have a good theme other than their Pokemon I would like to spend some time with.
Yeah. I am all for visiting Sean's man cave gym. Win
or lose, we're gonna have a great time.
Yeah, I could be enticed to come visit, do my best, have a beer. That sounds great.
My badge is a bottle cap.
Yes.
That's perfect.
That's great.
I'm so glad I thought about that. Okay, I'm sorry I interrupted you. But it's your turn.
No, that's so good. Oh my god. So I'm imagining your gym just hidden off the road between Pallet Town and Viridian City. Just off, and if you don't know about it, you'd never notice it. It's just right there.
You would never even go there because who the hell would go between Pallet Town and Viridian City other than people who live in Pallet Town? Right. That's it.
It'd be like if you were on your way back after getting all the other badges and you're about to go back to Viridian City, and all of a sudden you turn your head and you go, "That shed wasn't here last time, was it?"
Was that? You only noticed it because you sneezed, and then you looked up and,
I did notice something. Are you haunted?
Am I what?
Are you haunted? I mean, I saw the lights flicker on your screen.
Oh, for real? Oh, God.
Yeah.
If it is, I hope it's Haunter. I hope he.
I hope it is too.
And he's gonna come hang out with me.
Man, I could only hope.
Enough of my gym, though. We got to get time. I want you to have plenty of time for your own artistic gym vision.
So, my gym vision, which is my eternal gym vision, and I would just have to tell Lorelai of the Elite Four to eat my dust because I would also be an ice trainer. You can suck it. First of all,
Next episode.
Lorelai is a. But I need to say this.
Sure.
Out of all the Elite Four, the one who is dressed the least interestingly is Lorelai. She looks like she's a fucking secretary. No shame, no shade at secretaries or administrative assistants, but she looks so goddamn boring in that pencil skirt, that sweater vest, and those glasses. She has no pizzazz, and I would have pizzazz. First of all, my gym. I would put my gym right in the middle of the ice Pokemon headquarters in the Seafoam Islands.
That's perfect.
And what I would want it to be for trainers is I would want it to be, you're looking for Articuno because you've heard rumors that Articuno, the legendary ice bird, is down there somewhere. And you do all that shit, you push the rocks into the hole to get through there, and you think you've done it. And you come all the way through it, and instead of Articuno, voila, it's me. And I'm the trainer you have to face because it's my goddamn gym.
That's beautiful.
You didn't even know it was a gym, but it's beautiful. A gym. And I would be dressed in some beautiful blue, silvery, like 18th century waistcoat. I'd be glorious. I would be amazing. Maybe even a powdered wig. Who's to say? It's my fantasy.
That kind of, what do you call it, like the crushed undershirt with the... God,
yes!
I don't know my terminology.
Good. I know what you're talking about, but I can't think of... Yes, exactly.
I keep thinking of crushed velvet. It's not something crushed.
I know. I thought the same thing, too. Pretty much, guys, if you've seen Interview with a Vampire, that's what I want to look like. I want to look like Lestat. I want to look just like that in the Seafoam Islands in my gym, and you do all that crap to find the ice bird, and you get down there, and instead of the ice bird, you get me. Voila. And it says Jesse challenges you to a Pokemon battle, and you get beautiful Pokemon gym leader music, and I'm in some beautiful, very fey, very gay pose. I don't know. Very homosexual, though. I really want that to come through very, very strongly in my gym. And my first, pretty much, suffice to say, if you're a fire type trainer, you're gonna sweep the floor with me probably. But I would give you a good run for your money because, as Sean knows, my ace in the hole there would be a mostly water type. But I would start with, of course, a Glaceon. I gotta have my ice type EV evolution. Not native to Kanto, but fuck that. I'm importing it in. I've got him. I've traveled the world. I'm bringing him home.
Let's say importing him, that's like half the fun gone. No, Jesse, you're going to go get him. And by the time you get back, he's going to be out of his Pokeball following you like your best buddy. And
importing makes it sound like I'm some kind of terrible...
We just spoke out against fighting Pokemon, but if you buy them from abroad and then bring them overseas...
This isn't Tiger King. So everyone out there, we're not promoting that kind of nonsense. But after Glaceon
closely resembles Carol Baskin's, but I am not.
After Glaceon, I would probably throw out Dugong because Dugong is a great ice Pokemon. And Dugong, after Dugong, I would have an Alolan Ninetales. Because Ninetales is beautiful enough, and then
what a handsome bastard Ninetales.
They spoke to my deepest, darkest being when they made an ice type Ninetales, and I was just so happy. So I would have an Alolan Ninetales, and then my killer, the last one, if they were lucky enough to get there, because this is my thought process: a fire type trainer could blow through those other three Pokemon, right? They get to the end. They expect another ice type. Lo and behold, it's Cloyster. And Cloyster knows a lot of water type too.
Cloyster,
I'm gonna hydro pump. I'm gonna hydro pump that Charizard out the fucking cave. That's what I'm gonna do. You thought you could beat me. You're wrong. Pretty much, if somebody brings fire and grass types to my gym, I'm doomed. I'm trapped. I'm stuck.
And every other
But
trainer
those,
in history has run up against that problem of having a themed gym. They really should have mulled that over, but
yep,
I get it.
yep. But that would be my four, and probably every year I would probably go to the Elite Four, or at least write a sternly worded letter and insist that I would be better Ice type leader than Lorelei. I would write a letter every year, and I would say, please replace Lorelei with me. I work harder. My Pokemon are better. I'm not using a fucking Jinx. Jinx sucks. Anyone who likes Jinx, I'm sorry.
I can't
We
say
don't
I've
need a
ever
Nicki
used
Minaj.
Jinx. Like my only interaction with Jinx is like owning a card, and that's all I got.
It's just a Nicki Minaj. That's all it
It's
is. It's true.
WAP, wet ass Pokemon.
Wet ass Pokemon.
I
Thank
will
you.
visit you, but
that would be mine. That'd be my setup.
I will
You
visit
have to
you,
use
but I
to get to
hate.
my gym.
I despise cold, so you gotta at least like. I'm gonna bring a Charizard down there to help make some fires because I despise the cold. But
That's fair.
your flair, your fashion, your setup has such a nice holistic feel to it, and I have to see it, and then we'll fight, and then we will drink and have a good time there as well. But nobody else gets to drink in yours except for me, right? So
That's right. It'd be a blast, and I feel like for me, you should have to. I want trainers to work hard to get to my gym. That's why they have to go through 8,000 fishermen and swimmers to make their way to my gym in the Seafoam Islands. And then when you get there, you have to go through a complicated puzzle of rocks and holes
the buddies on
to
the inside, yeah. Don't forget those
make
bastards.
it up to me. And I know what everyone's thinking. I'm an ice gym leader in the Seafoam Islands. Why are you not using Articuno? Well, because in the real world, I'm sorry, it's fun for us to capture legendary Pokemon, but let's face it, in the real world, you don't get to capture legendary Pokemon. They beat the shit out of you. You go blacked out to the Pokemon Center, and you pray to God that all your Pokemon are going to live this through. You don't get to beat legendary Pokemon in the real world. I'm sorry. It's just not a fact. You just can't do it. They're legendary for a reason.
It's literally in the name. Like
It's the titular role.
I agree entirely that the games, don't forget, the games do not match this other fake reality, even though the games came first. But
That's true. We live in a weird mixed world here of, the games, the manga, the anime, our imaginations.
for as dumb as the show is, the sort of existence of characters and things in the game is worse. The manga has like the most intelligent universe I've seen of the three to this point.
Yeah.
But using that as a segue, not much to talk about game wise here. There's no parallel whatsoever other than just wandering around beating the shit out of people.
I guess we can say one and I think it does come up in the anime eventually. But the only unofficial gem that I can think of that we ever encounter is the one in Saffron City, the fighting gym, the fighting dojo.
Yeah.
It's the only unofficial gym we ever encounter. You get, because you don't only get Sabrina in Saffron City, you get the fighting dojo.
I forgot
which is
all
a
about that. And
gym.
it's just like it's a gym. Like people are in
Yeah.
there throwing punches and stuff. Very interesting. Forgot all about that. When Ash tries to
That's
pick a
all
fight.
you ever get in the in the games.
And
Every
that-
other gem you come across is a Pokemon League licensed gym, except that one.
Yeah. Anime or any manga parallel whatsoever.
Not that I could find. Guys, the manga is so bizarre. If I tell Sean all the time as I discover things about it that I'm just shocked by, because I just want to say one of the reasons why we're including the manga in these discussions is because for Sean and me, who grew up on the games and the anime and the cards, the manga is really different. So it's been really fun and exciting to walk through that too. But it really adds a whole nother level of thinking about this thing that we love and know as Pokemon. So
And
I
to
really
me, it
recommend
seems the most
check it
intelligently.
out.
It seems the most intelligently designed at this point to me personally, but I I don't know, things in the manga that you've described seem like they have like real world consequences and things. And that's hard to
They
wrap your
do.
mind around, but
It seems like Pokemon die, which
Pokemon
is very
die and
alarming to my very childish. Take
and
my fainted Pokemon to the Pokemon Center 18,000 times worldview.
and Red seems like he could be let out of his house without being a danger to himself. Like he, that being said,
Exactly.
I think that's basically all the time that we have this go round on this episode here. Path to the Pokemon League. If you're watching us on Twitch, if you're that one person, hang tight. We're going to be right back with episode 9.
Thank
Everybody
you.
else, thank you for watching this podcast, which is available as always on YouTube. You're probably watching it there or on the podcast aggregator of your choice. We're so grateful that
And
you have.
remember, PokéMalarkey across all of the social media platforms. That's where you can find us.
Please, it's the same everywhere. Jesse, thank you so much for setting all that up. And we're really grateful to have had like a nice, we're only a few episodes in, but we've got some nice listenership and some positive feedback and fantastic guests. It's been an absolute blast. So thank you for hanging out with us again tonight on PokéMalarkey episode 8. We look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you.
Jesse, thank you as always, and I'll talk to you very shortly.
Thank you, Sean. Bye-bye.